The Sleep Police, Part 1. The pixelated characters on Lena's television flickered as she maneuvered the joystick of her game controller, deep in concentration. Beside her sat her best friend, Tina, who seemed visibly frustrated, even from what Lena could make out from the corner of her eye. Smirking, Lena pulled the trigger on her controller, knocking out Tina's game character and ending the round. Tina huffed, tossing her controller to the ground. "This is why I like crafting more," she muttered. Lena laughed. "So, you were saying it was like some kind of doll?" Tina nodded, making eye contact with her friend. "One of those dolls that comedians use. Ventriloquist," Lena corrected. "A ventriloquist dummy." "Right," replied Tina. "It looked a lot like me, and it kept talking to me, but it also seemed like it was waiting for something." "Like the man who broke into your house?" Lena asked. Tina shrugged. "I don't know, but it was really scary." "Oh, grow up," Lena scoffed. "Both your parents and mine hired a bunch of extra security after what happened. You'll be safe from a stupid toy." "I guess." Tina hung her head. The bedroom door opened, and Lena's father walked in with his boyfriend, Paco. "Time to wrap things up," Lena's father said. "Tina, your mom wants you home so you can get ready for school tomorrow." "Dad!" Lena shot him a glare. "We're playing a game." Paco cleared his throat. "You girls know that security has been tighter ever since, you know." Tina shifted uncomfortably. "It's okay. I gotta go, Lena." Lena rolled her eyes. "Fine. See you later." As Tina left the bedroom, Lena's father knelt down, kissing Lena on the forehead. "You get some sleep, too. Turn the game off, clean up, and get ready for school tomorrow, okay?" Sighing, Lena set her controller on the floor. "Yeah, Dad, I love you." "Love you too," he said, glancing at Paco. "We both do." Paco nodded. As Lena began to straighten up her room, the two men left her alone, closing her bedroom door. The moment she heard their footsteps fade down the stairs, she snatched up her controller again, resuming her game. Hours passed, and Lena felt her eyes grow tired, but she pushed through, her fingers deftly flicking over the controller's buttons. To her right, the night sky beyond her bedroom window began to lighten, and she glanced at her alarm clock. 5:12 a.m. "May as well stay up now," she said to herself, returning her attention to the television. Pausing her game, Lena looked around, but saw no movement in her bedroom. Shrugging, she resumed playing. Lena frowned, setting her controller down and listening more closely. A faint sound, like a fingernail tapping against glass. Lena whipped her head around toward the bedroom window. Only darkness outside, slowly illuminated by the dawn. She stood to her feet, slowly approaching the window, and peered through the glass. No dolls. No men in masks. Nothing. Behind her, the bedroom door creaked open, and her father peeked inside. "Lena, I thought I heard..." His eyes drifted to the television, then to the game controller, then to Lena, still in her clothes from last night. "Lena," he sighed, "did you go to bed or did you stay up all night?" Yawning slightly, Lena rubbed her eyes. "I might have stayed up." "Come on now," her father replied, exasperation in his voice. "I need you at your best, Lena." "But I wasn't tired," Lena insisted. "I'm still getting good grades, right?" "Yes, but..." Her father pinched the bridge of his nose, taking a deep breath. As he released it, his eyes lit up. "But what about the sleep police?" "The what?" Lena asked. "The sleep police. It's a special division of the police department that keeps track of people who haven't been sleeping." Lena scoffed. "You're making that up." No, her father said, mock sincerity in his face. "If you don't get enough sleep, the sleep police will come get you and take you away to sleep jail. No games, no friends, just you in a dark room." Shivering, Lena sat on her bed. That's not funny. I know, he responded, eyes wide. I don't want you to get arrested by the sleep police. Why don't you just go get some proper sleep tonight instead? Whatever, Dad, Lena grumbled. Your jokes are terrible. Paco appeared in the doorway, knocking on the wood. Jim, the VP is on the phone. He wants to talk to you. Lena's father rolled his eyes. I'm coming. Reaching over, he patted Lena on the shoulder. I'll be working late tonight, and Paco has some things to do as well. Security will take you to school and back, okay? Frowning, Lena hugged her father. Do they have to? Paco tapped the man on the shoulder, and he pulled away from his daughter. Yes. Yes, they do. The clock ticked incessantly by as Lena's math teacher droned on about fractions or something. She was so tired, it was difficult to focus. Picking up her pencil, she lightly tapped on her textbook, trying to maintain a rhythm that she could focus on to stay awake. Movement caught the corner of her eye, and she glanced out the bathroom window to see an old black sedan with broken side mirrors pull into the parking lot facing her. In the driver's, passengers, and rear seats sat 3 men in suit and ties. Their faces, though partially obscured by dark sunglasses, seemed slick and shiny, as if made of flesh-colored plastic. The driver turned off the car's ignition, and together the 3 men seemed to stare directly at Lena. Lena? Her teacher interrupted her. Can you tell me what 1/2 plus 1/3 equals? Oh, she squinted at the board, working out the problem. 3/5? Not quite, the teacher tissed. You added the numerator and denominator individually. What you need to do is find a common denominator. Lena blushed. I'm sorry. No worries, her teacher responded. Just keep your eyes ahead, okay? Out of the corner of her eye, Lena noticed that the black sedan was now empty. Actually, may I go use the restroom real quick? Fine, her teacher sighed, but be quick. Lena rushed out of the classroom, making a beeline for the bathroom. Who were those men? More of Dad's security? Lena shook her head. No, we never had security who looked like that before. She entered the second stall and sat on the toilet, retrieving her cell phone. She pulled up her messenger app and paused. Was this worth texting Dad over? After a moment, she pursed her lips, pocketing her phone. Suddenly, the bathroom door creaked open, and she heard footsteps click across the linoleum. Slow, measured, heavy footsteps, more like an adult's than a child's. They echoed off the bathroom walls as they grew closer, and a shadow darkened the cracks in the stall door. Lena held her breath, waiting for the newcomer to pass by, but they continued to stand there. Bending down slowly, Lena looked beneath the stall, noting the person's shoes as a large, black dress shoe, definitely an adult's, probably a man's. The sound was heavy, like a thick fingertip rapping against the other side of the stall door. Hello? Lena stammered. Silence. Then... Hello? Lena repeated, louder this time. The shadow moved, and Lena saw the telltale glisten of an iris peering through the crack in the stall. She quickly became aware of a heavy, stifled breathing. Help! She yelled. Somebody help! The figure pulled away from the stall, quickly exiting the bathroom. Lena fastened her clothes and burst from the stall, trembling. A few seconds later, another student rushed into the bathroom. Hey, Lena, you okay? Lena pushed past the student and out of the bathroom, looking both ways down the hallway. Empty. The other student followed her into the hall. Did something happen? Lena shook her head. No, I'm fine. Thank you. How was school? Asked John, Lena's security guard, as they drove away from the building a few hours later. Lena lowered her head, slumping into the back seat of the car. It was fine. Just fine? He pressed. She sighed. Someone came into the bathroom and was watching me through the stall today. A man, I think. Wait, what? John exclaimed, turning away from the steering wheel. Was it a teacher? Lena shook her head. I don't think so. There were some men watching me from the parking lot. They kind of looked like your security people, but different, too. Her eyes were so heavy. She was regretting staying up so late last night. Maybe it was the sleep police, she muttered drowsily. The what? John asked. Nothing, she responded. Just something stupid my dad said this morning. Well, we're going to talk to him tonight about what happened at school, okay? John said. Lena nodded. Okay. In the meantime, John smiled back at her. Why don't we pick up some seafood from the grocery store for dinner? Lena grinned excitedly. Can we get popcorn shrimp? Of course we can, John laughed. Lena saw a car pull out behind them in the rearview mirror, a black sedan with broken side mirrors. John, she exclaimed, they're following us. Who? John asked, glancing in the rearview mirror. Lena turned around and pointed at the window, but the car was gone. Oh, I thought I saw the people from my school. Well, maybe you did, John consoled her, but they aren't there right now. Either way, I promise I will keep you safe, okay? After about 20 minutes, they pulled into the grocery store parking lot. Lena hopped out of the car, looking around the flat, asphalt-covered area, but she saw no sign of the black sedan. Grabbing John's hand, she walked into the grocery store. Aisles of food stretched before her, so extensive that they were almost overwhelming. John headed for the seafood section, his long strides forcing Lena to speed up in order to match his pace. They passed the freezer section, and Lena caught a glimpse of frozen French fries. John, she tugged on the security guard's sleeve. Can we have fries, too? Sure, he smiled, but not those. He looked around the mostly empty store. Go pick out some fresh potatoes, and we'll bake our own fries. How does that sound? Sounds great, Lena answered, releasing his hand. He chuckled as she walked away toward the produce section. As she passed the candy aisle, she caught a glimpse of the cinnamon disc hard candies, one of her favorite treats that her grandmother always gave her when she visited. Pausing, Lena looked around, but saw no one else. Tiptoeing into the aisle, she reached for a small bag of the candy, ready to sneak it into her back pocket. Lena paused, her hand still outstretched. A chill ran up her spine as she looked past the bags of candy, where a shadow moved beyond the perforations of the shelving itself. Someone was in the next aisle over, tapping their finger on the shelf. Squinting, Lena peered through the perforations, trying to see any distinguishing characteristics of the person tapping on the aisle. Suddenly, the shadow moved, and once again, she saw the glimmer of an eye looking back at her. John! She screamed, backing away from the shelves. John! The shadow swiftly moved away from perforations, and she held her breath, certain they were going to come around into her aisle at any second. Instead, John appeared at the end of the aisle, hand on the butt of his holstered pistol. Lena? He said. What's wrong? They're here, she whispered. They're in the store. Where? John asked. Lena pointed at the candy-filled shelving. The other aisle. He rushed around the aisle, into the next one, and a few seconds of silence passed before he spoke again. There's no one here anymore, Lena. She walked around the aisle to join the security guard, grabbing his hand. Let's just go home. What about the... He stopped at the sight of her tearing eyes. No problem. You got it, boss. They returned home, and the evening passed without incident. John and Paco helped Lena cook dinner, settling on grilled chicken and vegetables. As the evening progressed, she began to feel better, especially after John called in additional security guards to stay in the house while they waited for Lena's father to return home. She even got to play a video game with John for a little while. Lena's ears twitched at the sound, and she set her controller on the floor, a ball of anxiety forming in the pit of her stomach. Did you hear that, John? John nodded, rising to his feet. They came from downstairs. Together, they walked out to the staircase, descending the steps, and joining the collection of security guards who'd gathered around the front door. What's going on, Thompson? John asked. One of the security guards gestured at the door, answering. We heard some kind of... 3 sharp, quick knocks boomed against the front door, startling a scream out of Lena. The security guards drew their weapons, assuming a strategic position around the front door. John joined them, calling out, "Who's there? State your name and intentions." Nothing but silence responded. Lena tugged at John's sleeve, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It's the sleep police. They found me." Then, with a shrill screech, the door ripped from its hinges, exposing them to the night.